All I have are my clothes, she whispered, so she stripped for food until a human stepped in. The neon lights of Nexus Station's lower district cast sickly shadows across the grimy corridors, where desperate souls gathered in the perpetual twilight of artificial atmosphere. Zara pressed herself against the cold metal wall, her purple-tinged skin almost translucent from hunger. The Valerian refugee had been on the station for 3 cycles now, her savings depleted, her options dwindling. All I have are my clothes, she whispered to herself, touching the simple fabric that covered her diminutive frame. The words tasted bitter in her mouth, like the recycled air that filled her lungs. Across the narrow alley, the pulsing music from Korath's den leaked through poorly sealed doors. The establishment was known throughout the sector, a place where the desperate could find credits if they were willing to pay the price. Zara had heard the stories, seen others enter with their dignity intact and emerge broken, hollow-eyed, clutching enough currency to survive another day. She closed her large amber eyes and tried to summon courage from somewhere deep within her core. Her home world of Valara Prime was gone, consumed by stellar collapse 3 years ago. The survivors had scattered across the galaxy like seeds on a cosmic wind, most ending up in places like this, forgotten corners where the Galactic Council's protection meant little. A Bruthan mercenary stumbled past, his forearms swaying as artificial stimulants coursed through his system. He paused, his compound eyes focusing on her with predatory interest. "Looking for work, Little Vel?" His translator unit made his chittering speech sound almost conversational. "Korath pays well for exotic merchandise." Zara's stomach cramped. With hunger. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. The automated food dispensers required credits she didn't have, and the charity lines were controlled by gang members who demanded their own forms of payment. She began, her voice barely audible above the station's mechanical hum. "Fresh meat always draws a crowd," the Bruthan continued, gesturing toward the den. "Especially the pretty ones. Your people's natural flexibility is quite popular among certain clientele." The words made her skin crawl, but the gnawing emptiness in her belly spoke louder than her revulsion. She took a tentative step toward the establishment, her bare feet silent on the cold decking. Well, what do we have here?" The voice came from behind her, deep, warm, and speaking perfect galactic standard without the mechanical filter of a translator. Zara spun around to see a human male emerging from the shadows. He was tall by her standards, with the characteristically dense bone structure and robust build of his species. His clothing was simple but clean, and his dark eyes held something she hadn't seen in weeks. Genuine concern. "Looks like someone's trying to pressure a refugee into a bad decision," the human said, his gaze shifting to the Bruthan. His tone remained conversational, but something in his posture made the mercenary's antennae twitch nervously. "Move along, mammal," the Bruthan growled. "This is none of your concern." The human smiled, a peculiar expression that many species found unsettling due to the display of teeth, but which somehow comforted Zara. "I'm making it my concern, friend. The lady looks like she could use a proper meal instead of whatever exploitation you're peddling." "She came to me," the Bruthan protested, but he was already backing away. Humans had a reputation in the outer systems, not just for their physical capabilities, but for their unpredictable tendency to involve themselves in other beings' affairs. "Did you?" the human asked, turning to Zara with raised eyebrows. "Or were you just trying to survive another day?" Zara felt tears welling in her eyes, another human peculiarity she'd somehow adopted since her exile. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I don't have any credits, any skills the station recognizes. I don't know what else to do." The human's expression softened. "What's your name?" "Zara of the 7th Harmony," she replied, using the traditional introduction of her lost world. I'm Marcus Chen, salvage operator and apparently today's good Samaritan. He gestured toward a small cafe tucked between two maintenance shafts. How about we get you some food and figure out a better solution to your problem? The Bruthan hissed in frustration and stalked away, muttering about interfering humans and lost profits. As they walked toward the cafe, Zara felt a strange sensation, hope, unfamiliar after so many days of despair. Why? She asked. Why help me? Your species has its own problems. Marcus shrugged, the gesture somehow eloquent. Maybe that's exactly why we help. We know what it's like to be far from home, to feel like the universe doesn't care if you live or die. He paused at the cafe's entrance. Besides, nobody should have to choose between dignity and survival. The cafe owner, a gruff centaurian with scarred hands, looked up as they entered. Marcus, the usual? 2 of whatever's hot and filling, Kef, and put it on my tab. As they settled into a worn booth, Zara watched her unexpected savior with fascination. She'd heard stories about humans, their wars, their expansion across the galaxy, their reputation for both ruthless pragmatism and inexplicable compassion. But she'd never experienced their peculiar morality firsthand. I still don't understand, she said, as steaming bowls of protein stew arrived. What do you gain from this? Marcus considered the question while she ate with barely controlled desperation. Maybe nothing, maybe everything. My species has a saying, there but for the grace of God, go I. It means we recognize that circumstances, not character, usually determine who ends up where. And after this meal? Zara asked, dreading the answer. After this meal, we find you. Real work. My salvage crew could use someone with your people's natural ability to navigate tight spaces. The pay's decent, the work's honest, and nobody has to surrender their dignity for survival. Zara stopped eating, her spoon halfway to her mouth. You would do that? For a stranger? Marcus smiled again, and this time she understood why other species found the expression both unnerving and oddly reassuring. That's what humans do, Zara. We see someone falling, and we catch them. Not because we expect something in return, but because catching people who fall is how civilization actually works. As she finished her meal, Zara felt something she hadn't experienced since fleeing her dying world, the possibility of a future. The human across from her continued talking about salvage work and crew rotations, but she was only half listening. Instead, she was marveling at a species that had somehow turned interference into art and compassion into a survival strategy. In the depths of space, surrounded by beings who saw only opportunities for exploitation, she had encountered someone who saw simply another person in need of help. Perhaps that, more than their technology or their tenacity, was what made humans truly dangerous to those who profited from others' desperation. Perhaps that was why the galaxy would never be the same.